Yes, we're back with more entertaining and questionable antics from Brad Marchand, because the rat is just the gift that keeps on giving. As in, the little ball of hate, despite, quote, cleaning up his act, has still managed to give us quite the list here. Now, a couple of these are from his days where he was at his peak pest-wise, therefore, let's just say this is mostly a combination with a couple older ones sprinkled in. And with that, here are 9 more jerk moments from Brad Marchand. Back during the pre-virus days, before the bubble and Canadian division, while the Flames were in town, things quickly began to heat up during the final frame of play in February of 2018. After deciding to cheap shot Michael Frolik as he was cruising through the slot, Marchand decided he wasn't done tormenting the forward. As the players came together during the stoppage in play, Marchand decided he was going to troll a little more by pulling up Frolik's face mask, which was protecting his healing jaw. After receiving a single shot to the face in retaliation, Marchand was then dealt a game misconduct for his actions. Not only is it illegal in football, but also illegal in hockey, something maybe number 63 wasn't aware of. This one may just be a clear example of someone who can give it all day, but can't take a dose of his own medicine. Anyways, it was during the middle period of play in the Steel City that Marchand went into immediate rat mode prior to receiving a clean hit from Chris Letang. Following the check, after getting tangled up with the defenseman, Marchand then proceeded to give Letang an idea of what his gloves smelled like, before honing his inner wrestler and pulling Letang down to the ice, where he proceeded to cheap shot his opponent. Both players were given minor penalties for roughing in results. And for those of you who don't believe in the existence of karma, well, you clearly haven't seen this altercation yet. After Patrice Bergeron and Ryan Lindgren exchanged pleasantries in the blue paint, Marchand decided to get involved in a more rat-like way, as he proceeded to cross-check the defenseman from behind, sending him down to the ice. But it was what happened immediately after Marchand decided to dish it out that the antics immediately came back to bite him, with full force, as Pavel Buchnevich gave Marchand an idea of what that cross-check felt like, by laying one on him from behind, sending him to the ice while knocking off his helmet in the process. Well, I can only imagine how many Buchnevich jerseys are purchased by hockey fans in the coming days, given that he was definitely elevated to hero status, especially in the Big Apple, following that move. One of the most recent moments on this list to take place transpired in the former barn of the New York Islanders last postseason. During the first period of play in Game 3 of the second round, play quickly came to a screeching halt following some questionable actions from number 63 himself. Following the initial shove by Travis Zajac in the neutral zone, Marchand decided to express his displeasure with Zajac by acquainting his stick blade with the forward's face. Regardless of the fact that Zajac sold the penalty by falling on the ice, still, once you have a reputation, it doesn't easily go away. For his actions, Marchand was given 2 minutes in the penalty box due to the fact that Zajac's face was unscathed. Well, in case you thought we'd moved on from the cross-checks and the numbers, guess again. This one, however, seemed to be more severe, at least considering the receiver's reaction, that is. During the remaining seconds of a regular season contest against the New Jersey Devils, Marchand decided he was going to give defenseman Sami Vatanen a little something to remember him by. As the Devils were hoping to get something going with an empty cage, Marchand proceeded to take Vatanen completely out of the play by cross-checking him from behind. Vatanen immediately fell to the ice, embellishment or not, and made his way to the bench, therefore in apparent discomfort. Now, you could argue that this was accidental, but most watching probably aren't giving Marchand the benefit of the doubt. No call was made on the play. As a regular season meeting between Boston and Philadelphia took place late last season, it was apparent that Marchand had forgotten that he was playing in the city of brotherly love. After going hard to the net in hopes of breaking the tie, Marchand then decided to jostle a bit with Justin Braun while pushing him into the net. But, as is usually the case, Marchand has more than enough antics to go around for all of his opponents, including Oscar Lindblom, who he decided to engage with after receiving some retaliation from Sean Couturier. For some reason, Lindblom brought out the vintage Marchand that rarely comes out today, as in the leg sweeping version, as Marchand went on to slew foot the forward. No penalty was called on the play. The Bruins and Capitals pretty much hate each other. This we all know. Up the intensity with a postseason series, well, you're going to be seeing the rat do rat things pretty frequently in results. This time around, we're going to the nation's capital, to Game 2 of the series, where Marchand was doing what he does best, antagonizing the opposition. After getting too close to Craig Anderson and taking heat for it, Marchand clearly didn't like the fact that he was brought down to the ice, and decided to express his distaste by giving Brendan Dillon a shot to a place that was apparently rather sensitive, as Dillon could be shown collapsing on the ice in pain. Marchand was dealt a minor penalty for roughing in result. On Halloween Eve of 2015, in the Sunshine State, Marchand was being his usual self, knowing that he had nothing to lose, pending an empty Florida cage with a 3-1 lead, decided to give Dmitry Kulikov a pleasant farewell near the blue line. As Kulikov was retrieving the puck in front of Boston's bench, Marchand, who saw his numbers, went on to push him directly into the bench face first. In result of the play, Kulikov left the contest leading from the nose, and Marchand followed after him not long after, down the runway after receiving a game misconduct. Luckily for Marchand, he was able to avoid supplementary discipline from the play. But Kulikov unfortunately wasn't so lucky, and according to Sports Illustrated, suffered a broken nose. Marchand had this to say about the incident. "He was a little off balance. I just pushed him. It's not like I buried him hard or anything like that. It's unfortunate. I obviously didn't mean to bury him from behind, but things happen," he says. And for another retro moment here, we're going back to a regular season meeting in Ohio's capital. Close to the midpoint of the contest, Marchand, while skating through the neutral zone, noticed RJ Umberger was busy assessing the on-ice situation and didn't see him coming. Therefore, Marchand then made sure to give the vulnerable forward an elbow to the head. Thankfully for Umberger, he received no injury due to his opponent's carelessness. But despite this fact, the league still took action against the perpetrator, as following Boston's 3-2 win, Marchand received a 2-game suspension and was made to forfeit around $6,300 in salary for his actions. Despite this though, Marchand defended himself by saying, quote, "I did get him in the head," he says. "That wasn't my intention. I was just trying to make contact. That stuff happens in hockey. It's a rough sport. Sometimes that happens. You have to live with it," he says. Regardless, this further perpetuated his cheap shot artist image that he was quickly making for himself back in the day.
Butch was saying again this morning about being conscious of what your image is and how you want to be thought of in the league, respected in the league. Do you think about that while coming back now?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I've tried for a while now to kind of get away from that role, and I just can't seem to escape it. I think obviously if you look back in the last few years, turned into a decent player, and it's tough to be branded with that name consistently. Obviously, it's for my own doing, but it's tough to escape it a bit. Devil's advocate there. It's what I had to do to get in the league, so I'll never say that I wouldn't go back and play the same way. I'll continue to work on it, but it's disappointing.